What is the general context of this new game? Can you introduce us the two main characters and how they are related to the two first Fear?
Sure, yeah. So Fear 3 takes place 9 months after the events of Fear 1 and 2. Fear 1 and 2 happen concurrently. During Fear 1, you were Point Man, and as Point Man, you were part of the Fear Squad, First Encounter Assault Recon, and you were charged with investigating paranormal activity at Armacam Technologies. Along the way, you learned that your mother, Alma Wade, is actually the source of all of this paranormal activity, and you're also charged with eliminating Paxton Fettel, who is one of the main bad guys from Fear 1. You learn that he's your brother, and so you're conflicted. Do you follow your orders and eliminate your brother, or do you ignore your orders and sort of save your brother? At the end of the day, you decide to follow through with your orders, and you eliminate Paxton Fettel, and you try to stop Alma, but you're unsuccessful. In the second game, another operative is sent to try to stop Alma. Alma lures that operative into a trap. She takes advantage of him and uses him to become pregnant. And that's the end of Fear 2. So now in Fear 3, 9 months later, Alma is growing even more powerful. The brothers make a return. Point Man is back as the main character. But as well, Paxton Fettel returns. And sure, you killed him in the first game, but now he returns as a ghost.
So the two main characters are both brothers and enemies.
That's exactly right. They're brothers and enemies.
And when you play in two-player mode, is it a co-op or multiplayer? Are you in opposition or in cooperation?
So when you play co-op campaign, you're playing through the same story as you would in single player. But yes, there's two players. Point Man is player 1, Fettel is player 2. And along the way, the brothers are sort of, there's an uneasy alliance between them. They have to work together to complete this mission and to reach their mother, Alma, but at the same time, they're very competitive with one another, and they each have their own agendas. And so, as part of that, we added our scoring mechanic, and what the scoring mechanic does is it sets out a bunch of various challenges within each mission, and the brothers compete against one another with these challenges to see who can get the highest score as well.
Okay, but as we saw the game, would you define it more as an action or as a scary game?
It's action horror. I really don't think you can split up the two.
Is there still creepy moments like in the first one when the girl appeared and the noise was so creepy?
Yeah. The Fear franchise has really always been known for action horror. It's not, I don't think it could be categorized as survival horror per se, because in Fear 1, you were never limited in terms of ammo, like say, some other titles are. So, the frenetic, fast-paced combat, the close quarters combat, is something that the Fear franchise is known for, along with the horror. With Fear 3, we've got that stuff back, and it's even better. But now we've added that layer of co-op to it as well.
Okay. The two different characters and gameplay, there are two different characters and gameplay. When you play solo, can you change, can you choose?
So when you're playing solo as single player, you can play as Fettel. But what you need to do first is you need to play through a mission first as Point Man. And then once you've played through that mission and completed that mission, you will unlock the ability to play as Fettel.
Okay, and you can play the whole game?
Exactly, yeah. So if you wanted to, you could play Chapter 1 with Fettel right after you beat Chapter 1 as Point Man, or you could play as Point Man all the way through and then turn around and play as Fettel all the way through single player.
So can you explain a little bit about the telekinetic capacity of Fettel?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. As a ghost, Fettel has several paranormal abilities. One of the abilities is a paranormal stun, whereby he can take out enemies. He can also levitate objects in the world, as well as levitate/suspend enemies and allow Point Man to get an advantage over these enemies. But the coolest feature, the coolest power of Fettel is probably his possession mechanic. And so that allows him to possess enemies, and once Fettel has possessed those enemies, he then has their abilities and whatever weapons they were carrying.
Critics about the two first Fear enlightened good ability of the AI.
Yes.
Is there still something very is it still something very important for us in the development of Fear 3?
Absolutely. Yeah. The AI is even more advanced in Fear 3, and the reason for that is the AI needs to be able to react to whether or not you're playing in single player or if you're playing in co-op. So when you're playing in co-op, the AI you have greater numbers of AI, as well as the AI will behave differently because now there's two players in the world versus just one player.
Plus, there is multi-pattern in every level, so they can sneak.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Last question about multiplayer. We've tried it like a few minutes. It was always 4 multiplayer sessions.
Yes.
Is it intended? Do you want to have a multiplayer gameplay like in Left 4 Dead or a title like that, with small groups?
Yes, the intention is to have a multiplayer with a maximum of 4 players, and the reason for that is if you look at the modes, we really found them to be a lot more fun with 4 players. It allowed us to tailor make the modes to fit within the Fear universe. From the start, our goal was to make it very unique and set it apart from other titles. And so, we bring in the possession mechanic, we bring in paranormal enemies, as well as the giant wall of death that Alma created. So in order to leverage those brand elements, it was simply more fun to have 4 players.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yep, thanks.